This is the Fender Player II Modified Stratocaster. What makes it different from a Player II, I hear you cry? Well, let's find out, because I've got one of those as well. And in this video, I'm going to put them up against each other and find out which is the one you should spend your hard-earned cash on, if either. So firstly, they are clearly both Strats. This one is in coral red, and this one is an Olympic pearl. The Player II Modified is still a Player II, but it's just a bit more in a few ways, including the price. So, firstly, let's go over what they have in common. They're both Strats, they both have older bodies, they both have rosewood fingerboards. That's 9.5-inch radius on both. They both have maple necks. These are modern sea maple necks, which are not my favorite, of course, but I'll let that slide for this video. We also have 3 single coil pickups on both models. We have 5-way switching on both models, 2 tones, 1 volume on both models. On both models, you'll find 2-point trems, and they both have 22 medium jumbo frets, and they're both made in Ensenada, Mexico. And now, let's go over the differences. Pickups. The Player II has Player Series Alnico 5 single coils. The Player II Modified has Player II noiseless single coils. Tuners. The Player II has got classic gear tuners. They are vintage style tuners. The Player II Modified has deluxe cast sealed locking tuners. Nut material. The Player II has got a synthetic bone nut. The Player II Modified has a tusk nut. Bridge saddles. The Player II has got bent steel saddles. The Player II Modified has block steel saddles, and in there is a chamfered tremolo block. Additional switching. The Player II has no additional switching. The Player II Modified has a push-pull on this tone knob, which adds the neck pickup into positions 1 and 2. Treble bleed circuit. The Player II has no treble bleed circuit. The Player II Modified has a treble bleed circuit. Price. It's kind of difficult to talk about prices at the moment, and you'll find accurate pricing in the video description down there. But to make it simple, the Player II is about 20% cheaper than the Player II Modified. So now we know all that, let's see if we can hear the difference with some clean first. By the way, the amp that I've been using so far is the Alternator 2 from NRG, and you can find more information about that in the video description. I can hear differences there, and I have not even had the samples back to back like you did. That being said, even 2 guitars of the same model can sound different. And you might be wondering, what about pickup height? Well, before I made the video, I did take a screwdriver to the Player II and make sure that the pickup height was the same as the Player II Modified. But we will check the output on all those pickups in a little bit. Let's increase the gain and do something a little bit more rocky. And for that crunch, I'm going to use channel 2 of the Alternator 2. Now, I don't know what this means, but I'm finding the Player 2 a little bit more difficult to play in that part, but it was easier to play in the clean parts. And the setup of both guitars is roughly the same, and good on both, out of the box. So I don't know, as I said, I don't know what that means, but it could be me. It's probably me. Let's carry on. Let's do some high gain, or higher gain. Now, I hear an even bigger difference now that we've upped the gain a little bit, and I'm quite energized from playing that riff. It's one of my favorites. I do have a preference. I don't think one's better than the other, but I do have a favorite. I'll let you know in a little bit. What we do need to go over is adding that neck pickup into positions 1 and 2, and we'll do that with that same riff, because it means I get to play it again. In preparation for making this video, I made a reel on Instagram at @theguitargeek_, wink wink, and I found a sound that I absolutely love. It is clean, crispy, with a little bit of bite from the amp, and then position 2 with the neck pickup added in with that switch. Have a listen to this. Adding the neck pickup into position 1 also sounds great for a funky kind of riff because it adds a bit more warmth and a bit more neckiness to what can sometimes be an ice-picky bridge, which incidentally on both the Player II and the Player II Modified, the tone knob is wired for the bridge pickup. But yeah, here's that same riff again with position 1, and the neck pickup. It sounds great, and it's probably a fairly simple mod, so I might actually do that to my main Strat, although I wouldn't do it the same way that Fender have done it here. That's foreshadowing for part of the review. The treble bleed circuit. The best way to test a treble bleed circuit, in my opinion, is with a fuzz pedal. So this is my fuzz, the Legacy Fuzz from Cornell, and I'm going to play both guitars on volume 10, 8, 6, 4, 2, and just when we get some volume. So here we go, first with the Modified. So due to the treble bleed circuit on the Modified, what you should have heard is that retain clarity as I turned the volume down. I can't remember because I was playing. So let's put that back to back now of the volume on 2-ish for both of them. Or I can hear it. I think we put it back to back, but that is certainly much spankier, to use one of those words. It's popping and slap. Oh. Okay, I'm convinced that the treble bleed does exist in here and is making a difference. But it's now time to open up the guitars and have a look inside. The first thing we're going to do is take a look inside this back cavity to have a look at that trem block. It is indeed chamfered. Okay, so everything looks fine in there, clean, I must say. I'm quite used to things being in that cavity like white polish powder and stuff. There's none of that. That is a very clean route, but that looks weird. I mean, I was expecting to see regular Strat, you know, regular big old block. I don't know. I mean, that gives you more space to go down, I guess. Yeah, that must be the reason. Okay, in doing that, I accidentally popped off 2 of the strings. So we're now down 2 strings, which means I'm going to take the neck off anyway. So we're looking at the 5th of February 2025. And some initials there. If you made this guitar, if you're watching, hello. Let's just pop that out of the way for a moment. Turn this around and get that pick guard off. Moment of truth. What's going on inside here? Wow. A lot. Okay, so there's our push-pull. Wow. Let's get the close-up camera in. This is not as simple as I thought it was going to be. And they've done a cleaner job than I might have. The push-pull is a pretty standard push-pull. Nothing to write home about there. Anything written on it? I mean, it's quite small. It's quite compact, should we say, not small. Then we've got a 500K pot on there, which is, I can't tell what brand it is. I'll maybe have to take off the other side. Then we've got a Fender branded board on there. Can you see the F just there? That's branded on there to get us the extra switching. And I didn't know that existed. I've never seen one of that before. Soldering looks good. Pickups, I mean, what's to say? We've got pickups. I can't even see what that's written on there. If anyone can decipher that, please let me know in the comments. And then, of course, what I love that Fender does is put barcodes on here so they can scan stuff in. And there's a tested sticker. And as for that 5-way switch, that is not your regular 5-way switch. It's got all kinds of stuff going on. I want to know what brand pot that is. So I'm going to try and pop it off. There we go. Lefty loosey. Oh, it looks pretty. It looks expensive. I can't see anything written on there. All right. Sorry for the anticlimax there. Righty-tighty. Let's just see if that is conductive or just for show. Do we get a beep? Yes. Fender, do we get a beep? No. What? That's just black paint. Okay, I don't expect the regular Player II to be conductive paint either in that case. That's a surprise. Let's bring in the Player II in red. Ding ding. So, back cavity first. Here we go. Right, that is a full block in there. Again, very clean, which it should be. There's no excuse for having a dirty cavity. But then that full block, I don't know why that feels... I like that more than I like the chamfered block. But I do see the advantage of having more space. But I like that. Time to take the neck off. Let's see what surprises await us in this one. Right. Off you come. Any date on there? There's a date? Nope, there's a number. Oh yeah. You're not going to believe this, but we share the same birthday. So yeah, 10th of June. Happy birthday when it's my birthday. Destined to come to me. Right, there's also some graffiti in there with some numbers on it. A lot of stuff. And of course, the barcode. Pop you over there for a moment. Time to get the pick guard off. Now, moment of truth. What's going inside the Player II? A lot more simple, as expected. Right, these are 250K pots, which I think they're alphas. All 250Ks, which you'd expect from single coils. A much simpler switching system, so there's no push-pull on this. And then the pickups are the pickups, I guess. That is not going to be conductive, is it? Let's find out. So, do we have a beep? Yes. Fender, do we have a beep? No. Okay, so that is not conductive. There are two things left to do before I round this up, and that is number one, weigh the guitars, because that might make a difference. So the Player II weighs 3.55 kilograms, which in pounds is 7 pounds, 12 ounces. And the Player Modified is 3.5 kilograms, so just a little bit less, and 7 pounds, 10 ounces. So there's really not much in it. Does it make a difference? Who knows? Not me. What will make a difference, of course, is the pickups. Let's measure those. So we're looking at 8 kilo ohms for the bridge, 4 for the in-between, 7.7 for the middle, 3.7 for the in-between, and 7 for the neck. 7.1, 7. Make your mind up. 7. Player II Modified. We've got 12.1 on the bridge, 5.9 on the in-between, 11.2 on the middle, 5.6 on the in-between, and 11.2 on the neck. And then if I put in position 1 and give it the old neck, we've got 5.9, sorry, and 3.9. Don't worry if those numbers mean nothing to you. I think it's less important what the number is and more important the fact that they're different. So the numbers on this are higher, making it a higher output than the numbers on that. And that should be the case because these are noiseless pickups, which are not true single coils. So it's time to decide which is the better guitar. Well, I kind of tricked you there. I don't think there is a better guitar. I think both of these guitars are good to great. Is this worth the roughly 800 euros? And is this worth the roughly 1,000 euros at time of filming? I can't say. Only you can decide that. What I can say is that, or we can discuss quickly, is that worth the extra money? So let's put that down for a moment. From opening it up, I realized that it's not just more money for the locking tuners. It's not just more money for the better saddles and the different tremolo block and the different pickups. What's gone into this on the treble bleed circuit, it's the work that's gone into there. I was quite surprised at how much more work has gone inside this pick guard compared to the regular Player II. And I'm not saying it's another, I don't know, hour, but it is more, and someone that's more skilled needs to do this, meaning that whoever gets to do this should be paid more. Therefore, this guitar should cost more. So there's that element to the price difference. I still don't know. Well, I do know that I like both guitars, and I slightly prefer the sound of this. I think there's more chime, there's more belliness, there's, I don't know, it's more clear. Especially, it could just be the treble bleed. That is not bad at all. I enjoy it. It's just, I prefer that. The red one is slightly more rough around the edges. But I do not like this push-pull. I do love what the sounds do. That's annoying. By the way, you deserve some new strings after this. You've done well. That's why I haven't put them back on. The push-pull is notoriously difficult on a Strat-style guitar. So just getting that in there is difficult. And when you pull it too much, the tone knob comes off. And I did pull it kind of hard there. So that's being unfair. But just grabbing that, if you're sweaty and you want to do that on stage, that's annoying. So I think Fender could have put something different, like a little rubber grip on that tone knob. Or like they do on the true S1 switching, where there's the button on the tone rather than a push-pull knob. But that might have proven just a little bit too expensive. So I'm glad they kept the price at this price and not more, but I would have to change that knob if I were to take this on stage and was relying on that difference of tone. That's why I prefer the push-push knobs, where you just push them in and you don't have to pull anything. However, they tend to fail a lot more than push-pull, which is probably why brands like Fender don't use them, as far as I know. Yeah. I've got to take a moment to talk about the looks, because I hate these style pick guards. Mother of toilet seat. I think they're awful. But that one kind of fits this Olympic pearl finish, and I really hope that finish is coming out on camera, because there's pinky purpleness to it. That kind of fits. I don't know what else I would do. I'd probably swap it out for black or tortoiseshell, if I'm honest. However, I much prefer the look of the coral red, and the board on that is darker. So my answer is I might put all the electronics of that in this and have the ultimate Player II Strat. If this finish is not your bag, or the coral red doesn't do it for you, there are other finishes. And we all know that the color of a guitar makes a huge difference to whether you buy it or not. So take a look at the website down below, have a look at the different finishes. I kind of really like the yellow one. I think that looks amazing. I didn't like this when I took it out the box, and I was a little bit disappointed, but it has really grown on me, just the color. But that yellow one, ooh. And let's not forget coral red. So yeah, it's both beautiful Strats. I am sure that you have your own strong opinions on either these guitars or guitars in general. And just to prove that you watched to the end of the video, before you leave a comment, include the word burrito. And that'll let me know that you watched the whole video and didn't just click it and wrote, I hate these, or I love these. You know, because people do that. Thank you to Fender for sending these out. Thank you to you for watching. I hope something good happens to you today, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye! There's a screw that I thought I'd lost, oh yeah. This is absolute waste of digital tape. clean studio is a happy studio.